No more of these pesky discs that you can trade and share with your friends. We don't want you. We don't want you to share your games with your friends. We want that money, baby. We want that moolah. We want it, and we want it bad. If you haven't heard the news, that Sony came out with a statement a few days ago, probably 6 days ago, and they're saying, well, you know what? We don't want to sell discs anymore, which, okay, let's go over it. What does this mean? A lot of people, of course, this is generating a lot of backlash just because a lot of people are not happy about it. Well, understandably so, because one of the biggest and coolest things about gaming, or at least the gaming we used to know, is that you can buy a game and own it. Yay! Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm being silly about this, but let's be honest. The fact that you bought a game and now you don't even quite own it per se was a big problem. Well, let's dive into it. So, in gaming, you have digital media, you have digital games, and you have physical copies. Okay, physical copies, as you know, stuff you can buy. It comes with a case, it comes with a disc, it comes with a cartridge, whatever it might be. In this case, it's a disc with Sony. And the problem that we're having with that is because a lot of people have been turning into digital because of convenience, and this kind of blew up with the whole COVID-19 pandemic situation. That kind of, like, people started buying a lot of stuff online, and I guess people kind of got, addicted to it to some degree. I believe this is part of it, but that's another story. Anyways, Sony is now directing and funneling all their consumers into a digital store. Now, here's the advantages for Sony when you do that. All right, when you buy a digital product or a game, you own that digitally and only digitally. You cannot remove that from the console and like own it. Like, it's there. And that in of itself gives Sony a lot of powers, okay? So it gives the company that owns that a lot of powers. Like, for example, if you have a digital copy, Sony may hold the power to take that digital copy from you, as opposed from a physical copy where no one can really take it from you unless they steal it or some nonsense like that, right? So they hold the power to, on some trumped up accusation, say, but you said this online and you've been disconnecting too much and this and that, and someone accused you or reported you for some, or whatever might happen. These things happen on the internet, and then they could just revoke the license for you to play that game, and they don't owe you any explanations whatsoever. And if you think they do, well, they should, and you'd be right to think that they should, but they don't have to. And you're basically powerless when it comes to that. So you just paid $80 for a game, possibly 90, possibly 100. We don't know. Prices have been going up like one of Elon's rockets. And I'm going to tell you, man, that does not sit well with me. I don't know how you sit, where you sit in the spectrum. If you think that that's okay, man, that's you. You're fine with that. I am completely not comfortable with that. I mean, this is about as comfortable as sleeping in a bed of nails. I mean, they have the power to take my property or something I paid for full price. Well, this is part of the push from gaming, and we start to see, like, Nintendo, and we've started to see Microsoft do the same thing before, and that they are trying to shift everything into digital because they can control everything within digital. They can monitor and control your gaming experience to some degree, of course, better. One of them, like I said, they can literally revoke your license to play the game, because essentially you're just buying a license to play the game. You're not buying a physical object, like a physical copy. They also hold the right and hold a monopoly over the price of games. Well, you might say, well, Frosty, man, it's their games. They get to decide what price. It's their game, but you bought their game. I don't know. That's like you buying a lawnmower and then the company of the lawnmower coming to your house and then being like, I'm going to take this lawnmower back even though you paid for it, because, I'm just not happy that I just want it back. I just want it back. I heard your neighbor's not happy about the sound, and I'm just going to take it back. You know, it's crazy. If you buy something, you should own that thing. That is simple as that. We don't need to we don't need a PhD to understand this. If you buy something, you own that thing. And that's what this is saying, is basically that's not going to be the case, possibly in the future, okay? So if you want to sell your lawnmower, you can sell your lawnmower. I mean, it's yours. I don't want it anymore. I could just sell it to somebody because it's my property. I can sell my property to whoever I want. But since when you buy a digital copy, you don't really own that. You have a license to play that. Now you cannot sell that legally, okay? You cannot sell that. There's no avenue to which you could sell that. You would have to sell the PlayStation or sell your account with the game in it. You know, nobody's going to do that. I mean, maybe some cases, but that's besides the point, right? They hold a monopoly that they can set up whatever trumped up prices they want, and that's what they've been aiming for. And now their excuse or their explanation for this, I call it an excuse, that's my point of view, is that, oh, people have been turning to digital. Yeah, because you've been making digital convenient with this in mind in the first place. You want people to go digital because you can monopolize the market of the games. You don't have hand-to-hand sales now. You don't have the second-hand market to deal with, right? What this means is you don't have to deal so much with retailers or at all. You don't have to go through Best Buy. You don't have to go through GameStop or anything to pay them some money for them to put the game in the shelf. You don't have to do that anymore. You also don't have to deal with the costs of production. It's all money that they're gaining. If you're looking at this through a lens of a CEO at Sony or any company, and your aim is to make money, this is an excellent decision for them, okay? In fact, their stock has gone up the very day they posted. The very day, which I believe was July 1st, don't quote me on that. The very day they posted about it, their stock went up, okay? What does that tell you? They're serving their investors, and that's what a company is going to do. Are we going to hate a company for doing that? That's not the point. The point is that you're screwing over the consumer to make the corporate happy, okay? And the consumer in the first place is the one that puts you where you're at. This is what happens when somebody gets big and gets billions and millions and stuff, which is the trend is, doesn't mean everybody does this, but I think in the history of mankind, it's always been like this. The trend is that they're going to make decisions that are going to make them more money. And you would think that the more money they have, the more they'd want to help, the more they'd want to service the people who got them there, the more they'd want to be faithful to their consumers, their buyers. But no, the more they're faithful to the people who invest in the company. And that's, you know, there's an old saying, you know, money talks and bullcrap walks. My dad used to say that. And that's it. You know, money's going to talk. Now, as a physical owner, not only do you own the game, you get to sell that game if you want, like I've said this point many times, but you also have a physical object that you can hold. When you buy something on the internet that is digital, you cannot hold that. Now, what's the value of that? For some people, a physical copy is something that goes in a shelf. And you might say that's stupid or whatever it might be. I think it's beautiful. I think it is adorable that someone likes to have a shelf full of game cases and show it off. There's nothing wrong with that. You see it on your favorite streamer screen. You love it, and you know you do. And that's just a beautiful thing. Now, another problem is now without the second-hand market, people who can't afford games are basically screwed. Like the gaming price is going up, you know, which happens with any hobby that goes viral or goes, popular. The prices start going up because, profits. Again, back to the same old saying. People that are barely making it through to buy a game nowadays, which is a lot of people because this economy sucks. And all over the world, wherever you are, it seems like everybody's just struggling. Those people are done. They're going to price up. They were already pricing out people, and now they're going to price out people even more because they monopolize the market. Now, I don't think there's any reason for anyone to be happy about this. I don't see a reason. I can see people being neutral about it. They just want to play their games and screw you, screw them, screw however. I don't care. I just want to play my game, whether it's digital or whether it's whatever. But don't forget that this might come and just nip you in the butt. You just never know. Because if they happen to take your game, then all of a sudden it's personal, you know? And this is not something that hasn't happened before. This has happened before. This has happened before where people's licenses for games have been revoked, and sometimes they get no explanation. Even movies with Sony, we have some controversy also going around with that. Some movies were removed from people's accounts that they paid full price for, and they were just removed, and Sony has nothing to say about it. Big corporation, man, when it comes like Sony, big corporation is not about the consumer, okay? It's not about the consumer. It will never be about you. You know, and that's why I think it's important for people to be vocal to some degree. And it's the people need to speak with their wallets, which is something that's I hope is gonna happen. I'm gonna end with this note. Gaming has just been filled with controversies lately. It's just one after the other, like the Switch 2 and all its situationships, and now Sony, you know, the whole thing with the Xbox Kinetic. There's like the camera is always on, and the Xbox One, I believe, which was all digital too. And it's just it is just gonna get worse. And they're gonna go, and I've been predicting this for a while, they are gonna make it so that you are going to pay for either a subscription or hourly fee to play games. And that's what they're aiming for, because if they stipulate that you have to pay $5 an hour to play GTA 6, you have a digital copy. You have no say in the matter. If they decide that you have to pay $6, $7, $8, $10, $20 an hour to play GTA 6, you want to play GTA 6, boy? Cough up. And that's that. And you're going to not be able to do anything about it because you don't own a physical copy. Okay? Sony's been ignoring everybody, and I don't think they're going to revoke this decision. I think we're going into 2028 with our butts wide open, just expecting to take that big old Sony loving, okay? And that's going to be that, all right? And then one last note, I'm just going to say this. Sony in 2028 will take your rights to ownership of a game. And then they'll come back around in 2027, 2026, and 2028 including, and they'll come around with a straight face and almost beg you to buy their product and sell you the PR and sell you the spiel and sell you the why you should buy this. So they will spit in your face as a consumer. They will spit in your face and then beg you to buy their product. Okay, so think about that. Just think about that.